Hi. So congratulations, you just got your first client, right? Or first couple of clients, but you don't know how to get started. You don't know what to do, right? You've heard of creators and people on Instagram, YouTube talking about onboarding, but you're not sure how you go about doing that and what it really means. So this is a brief uh, explanation about what onboarding is. Think of your service or your agency as a vehicle, right? And you're helping your clients reach from point A, right, where they're meeting you, to a improved position down the line, right? So from point A to point B, which is like a linear growth or a position of growth, right? So you're basically allowing them to get on board with you. If you think of it that way, it really makes a lot of sense. Onboarding, right? So yeah, that's what it means. Basically, formally taking them up as a client. So that's not exactly the definition, but that's somewhat of an understanding of what it means. So, so yeah, so an onboarding process looks very different for different agencies, and this video is specifically targeted towards brand new agencies or freelancers who have just started and managed to get their first couple of clients and just don't know where to begin. So it's a very simple, very straightforward framework which you can copy and utilize. I've focused on it being minimal, professional enough, but not too crowded or cluttered, right? So yeah, let me just hop into Figma. So yeah, so after you're done with your sales call, right? You your client's like, okay, let's proceed, right? What do? You start drafting a document. So this document has many shapes and forms, right? This was my first onboarding document, right? I made it with ChatGPT. Uh, Basically, it is a document that starts off with uh, starts off with sort of a greeting, right? Hey, welcome to my agency. We're glad to work with you. We are honored to work with you, and this is the onboarding document. And so yeah, we look forward to deals with you, or we look forward to working with you. Next, scope of work. So scope of work is basically the deliverables you will be providing with your client based on the agreed upon conditions, right? You're on your call, you would have discussed what services you provide and what services they need. You come to a conclusion with the Venn diagram and sort of finalize, okay, this is what we are going to get from you, this is what you're going to do for us. So sort of just outlining the work that is mentioned, and not just outlining, my bad, it is an outline that is filled in, right? So you have the general idea, right? Video editing, right? But then also describing, not just simple edits, VFX, SFX, text animation, motion graphics, all that stuff. So you not only mention that broad topic, you also mention the subtopic or the description, or you describe what you're going to be doing. So you mention all of that in sort of a table format, right? So here in my first onboarding document, I made it on Notion, just a table, deliverables, description, and format. Format is basically where they'll be able to obtain it or view it. So Notion, Google Drive, Dropbox, Google Docs, DMs, etc. However, recently I was I was thinking of maybe switching it up, so I made a very sort of plain, simple format, which basically just is as simple as deliverables. The doc, it's just a description about what this document is, document outlining deliverables, the date, payment status, and then the items. It's very simple, right? Items, what we did in this, right? But without the format, right? Since again this varies a little for me because this is a recurring client and I'm basically providing an improved or a sort of renewal document, but you can always add more to this. This is just the bare minimum, right? So you add your the text in bold is the service description, quantity, price. quantity that might not apply to you if you're providing sort of a more consultancy service, or sort of a service that cannot be quantified as to a fixed amount, fixed number. But if you do have such a service, such as making this many reels, or making this many graphic designed posters, or making this many marketing posters, that can differ for each agency. But yeah, this is a very simple and tried and tested format, right? You've seen this for ages, and there's a reason it works. So items, quantity, price. You can add another column which says amount, up to you, right? And then the total, and then you can always add like small bits of information that makes it seem a little more a little more refined. Like invoice will be generated once advance 50% is received. In case you collect advance payments, you can use that. Or if you collect upfront, you can mention that once the the invoice is paid, or the amount is paid, right? Next, um, okay, the next process, right? Uh, its position is interchangeable. You can do this before you actually provide the onboarding document. It can be a part of your onboarding document. You can do it after your deliverables. Really depends on the way you work. So uh, I've used it in a mixed way. I've used it in a bunch of ways. So basically rolling out a Google form to your client, or a Notion form, or any sort of form that collects information about what they do, their brand, name, logo, any sort of USP they have, their taglines, anything that will help me or you work better to help them, right? So I have a Google form here. This is for a t-shirt brand. What do you sell? What's your USP? What makes you different? So that you can, let's say if this is for a SMM client, you can be like, this USP can be sort of pivoted on or used as leverage in the reels, or photos, of course, can be used for promotional material. Their goal, right? Sales, whether they want reach, whether they want a follow base, or following, or a community, and then yeah, so any sort of additional support they might need. And then again, this is like a general sort of agency client requirement, just like what's your name, what one sentence what do you offer, what industry are you in, etc., etc. So just to understand, once you've got this sort of database, or a once you've got the information you need from the client, your work can be improved, or sort of catered towards their requirements, right? um, if you're making a poster that is meant to capture attention, you can go make it really stylized, right? You can focus on the elements that make it stand out. If you're trying to make a post that is clear and boost sales, right, you can make that complete. It'll be different from how the graphic design poster originally was. So there's a lot of variations that can be made based on their requirements. So keep that in mind, and don't forget this step. It's really crucial, right? And then comes the last, or the penultimate step, right? The invoice generation. I generally generate my invoices post the advance payment, right? I collect advance payment, so I make the advance, I invoice post the advance payment. So yeah, you can do that however you want to. You can generate an invoice before and after payment. So basically the only difference will be the payment due, and once the payment made, you can add a watermark saying paid, payment made, any sort of distinguishing factor that makes differentiates it from the previous invoice. Again, keep it very simple so that the client does not take too much time to understand. They can just go through it. And clients, I've heard a creator say this: clients don't buy results, they buy clarity, or something like that, right? So basically, making their work easier is why they're paying you. So why would you want to complicate things and add too much fluff when it can be as simple as possible? Especially if you're starting off, right? When you're starting out, it's just you, maybe one or two teammates. You don't want to overcomplicate things, right? So I believe it's a very simple. It's important to keep things simple in the beginning, at least. Again, I'm let me just make this clear. This is only for beginning agencies, not for you know uh, 5-figure, 6-figure agencies, right? And yeah, make sure your invoices are uh, professional looking. Here you can. So I'll be adding, if needed, I'll be adding these formats to the description. A link will be added to the description containing all of this, so you can just copy paste it for free. And yeah, good luck. And make sure your customer, you be in frequent contact with your customer or your client. Don't yeah, make sure you. So yeah, I'll be adding all of this to a link in the description where you can just copy it, um, or if need be, if if you all want, I'll add it to a pinned comment later, the format that I use. And yeah, as for the tool, I use Figma because it's I just like the workspace. You can use Google Docs, you can use Word, you can use Canva, anything that you prefer. And remember, there is no correct way of making an onboarding document, right? There's uh, only good ways, right? There's no correct way. You can make a bad invoice or a good invoice. There is no wrong invoice. So yeah, that's about it. And thank you. Bye bye.